political response to a growing threat. State lawmakers allocate billions for border defense and make illegal entry by migrants a violation of Texas law. Governor Greg Abbott's crusade for school choice stymied by Democrats and rural Republicans who say public dollars should never pay for private education. And in a controversial verdict, the Lone Star State's top cop cleared of corruption charges, triggering an ongoing civil war within the Texas Republican Party. I'm Greg Grugan, and welcome to this special Christmas Eve state politics edition of What's Your Point, where our panelists will call it like they see it. Let's greet them. Starting us off, prolific investigative journalist Wayne Dolcefino. Next up, longtime Houston political reporter Doug Miller. In the 3 spot, education and public safety advocate Paul Castro. Batting cleanup, Jacquie Baly, political science professor at the University of Houston downtown. And closing us out, well-known businessman and columnist for Real Clear Politics, Bill King. Let's begin. Let the money follow the child. Call it the battle cry of those in Texas pushing for what Governor Greg Abbott labeled school choice. For the better part of 11 months, our state's chief executive invested untold time and political capital, pitching the virtue of subsidizing families looking to flee public schools for a better fitting, better performing private education.
What you should be given is a choice to find a school that's right for your child, and that's why I am here tonight.
Consistent polling tells us the governor succeeded in convincing a hefty majority of Texans, but fell 13 votes shy of the majority which ultimately mattered most, the membership of the Texas House. 21 mostly rural Republicans joined Democrats in turning back choice, and then watched as teacher pay hikes and additional public school funding were snatched off the table. Panel, 3 words: hardball politics. I'm going to start with you, Paul Castro. What do you make of the choice battle we had this year?
Yeah, I think it failed because it wasn't set up to succeed politically. You have a number of Republicans who understand, especially those in rural parts of the state, that this was not going to benefit them at all. Right now, as it was projected to grow, it was going to grow to $22 billion per biennium. That's about 20% of what currently is spent in Texas public schools. There was nothing attached to that was going to make it financially viable long term. And I think what people saw was that money's going to have to come from somewhere. It's going to come out of the local schools. It was bad. And the House has been rejecting this since 2015. This is not a new loss. It's not a new issue. And it's going to consistently fail until something substantially changes.
Bill, Abbott put lots of chips on the table on this, and he's probably not done. What was your take of what went down?
Yeah, so this is just another example of where majority of Texans don't get what they want, right? I mean, the polling clearly shows that a large majority of Texans, including Democrats, African Americans, Hispanics, everybody by considerable majority wants some kind of alternative, especially when you means test it. And I think if anything fell short, maybe that was what he should have emphasized, was this is really going to be means tested for those folks that are trapped in really bad schools as a way to get out. By not having that clearly set out, the opposition was able to pitch this as, well, these are just rich people. They're going to get some help paying the private school tuition they're already paying, which obviously was not a very popular proposition.
Wayne Dolcefino, you do plenty of work in rural areas, investigations, and you know, what I saw here was a reaffirmation that rural superintendents are like feudal princes out there. They have lots of stroke, and when they said no, their lawmakers answered.
So there's the importance in these small towns of these public schools. I mean, they are like the heart of the town, even like a town like Katy, where my kids grew up. But we also have the problem that ethnic politics has destroyed urban school districts. And it's exacerbated by the immigration in many of these school districts, right? And it's affecting test scores, I think, in these districts. So it's almost 2 different problems, right? The reason people are fleeing public schools is because in many schools, they suck.
Jacquie, you know this governor pretty well. I'm suspecting he's not throwing in the towel here. He's got the long game to play.
Of course. So that's why we had so many extra sessions, special sessions. And, you know, Bill alluded to the poll. Polling is showing 51% of us do want some type of voucher system, including 44% of the rural area. So with those numbers, he's definitely going to come back. We saw a really good bill come out in November where it really focused on children with disabilities and also minority children. That was a very healthy bill that helped all of the areas that we were thinking would be cut out if we had a voucher system, but yet it didn't pass. I do know that this is going to be coming back up. We will be talking about it on the show once again.
All right, Doug Miller, both the UH poll and the UT poll came up with what I thought was an astonishing, and it really shouldn't be astonishing result. That is that urban black Democrats, a majority of them, a solid majority, wanted this choice option. And yet